So, Ingleton Liburd, first episode of the Cricket Canada show. It's a privilege to have you because you are one of the most iconic, most experienced individual in Cricket Canada. You have worn all sorts of hats. You've been a captain, you've been a general manager, and now you're the head coach of Team Canada. How are you?
I'm good, Jimmy, and happy to be here and happy to be your first guest on Cricket Canada show. And as you said, I've worn a few hats. I started in Cricket Canada really as a development officer and then went to GM after that. And I was captain for about 6 years and was privileged to captain the team during the only Commonwealth Games that was played for men.
So, Commonwealth Games, I'll take you back. You have been a part of the team which played against Sachin Tendulkar. Any thoughts on that? Any experience you can share?
I mean, yeah, when you play that game, you're going out to play against India with Sachin Tendulkar. You've got Robin Singh and those kind of players.
What year was that, if you remember?
It would have been in 1998, and Anil Kumble was there as well. So these are some top players you're playing against. So I think a lot of the guys were starstruck because you're seeing guys who are your heroes, and you're thinking you're going to be playing against them. But we actually had a decent enough game because we were able to bowl out for India for less than 150.
Wow.
But and I think the highlight was to see Sachin. I mean, we wanted to see him get some runs, but to see Davis Joseph bowl to him, he left alone the ball and got bowled, and we were so excited. And
how much did he score in that match?
He scored probably about 2 or 3.
That's
something
it.
Like that. That's it. Yeah.
So getting out Sachin Tendulkar, Canadian team in 1998 when he was dominating world cricket in like Sharjah and Desert Storm and all that stuff, and he's getting out to Canada like for 2 runs. That's incredible.
That was amazing for us, and to get India out under 150, we thought we were in with a chance, but then they were so good at that time. The bowling, playing guys like Kumble, I think he had about 4 or 5 wickets maybe in that game, and we got bowled out with just a little over 100 and lost the game. Yeah.
And you mentioned the Commonwealth Games. I believe after just like we were doing some research on you, just right after that you were also part of World 11.
Yeah, I was in a World 11 team that played. I was actually on a team with Sachin at that time. So I shared the dressing room with guys like Sachin, Serviv, Imran Khan, Dilip Mendes from Sri Lanka. So it was a tough game, tough team, great team. Played against the West Indies 11, the guys like Rich Richardson, Dujan, and Ian Bishop and those guys. Unfortunately, I was 12th man, so I didn't get to play, but I actually fielded. And actually, I surprised myself in the field because I was not known to be one of the best fielders in Canada, but that day I think I had a really good day on the field.
Such a great story. Now, like fast forward, Ingleton Liburd returning to India and Sri Lanka as the Canada World Cup coach, head coach, is a huge thing. What do you see? Like, we recently had the World Cup qualifiers. We dominated in it. Canada, I think they won all the matches. We saw 2 fastest 50s for Canada. Harsh Thakur scoring in 16, 17 balls. A young bloke like Yuvraj Samra scoring it in 15 balls. How do you see the transition? Like, when you say like you as a GM, as a captain, you have seen all the iconic players in Canadian cricket, and now you are kind of managing and coaching these young blokes. What are your thoughts on that? Like, how have you seen the transition in Cricket Canada, in Canadian cricket in general?
First, if you want me to talk a bit about those 2 gentlemen that you mentioned, Harsh Thakur, Yuvraj Samra, immense talent, very talented, especially Yuvi. He's got so much talent. I'm not sure he knows how much talent yet. So, I mean, the day we were talking about Harsh breaking, I think he broke Aaron Johnson's record, the fastest 50. And we were all talking about that. But then Yuvraj came and did it the next couple of days. And it was the other talk of the town. But the transition for me from GM to coach is not difficult because during the period when I was GM, I always filled in as coach. In fact, in 2019, when there was World Cup qualifiers, I was coaching the Canadian team at that time. I coached the Canadian under-19 team in the 2014 World Cup. So I've always been coaching, so it's not a difficult transition going from GM to coach. So I think coaching is really my passion. I really enjoy it. So even when I did the GM job, I continued as a coach in other factors. Like last year, I was the head coach for the Ontario Under-23 program. So it's not something that I've ever given up. And I also coach facilitator for ICC, and I've been for Cricket Canada for a while as well.
That's so good to know. And I also wanted to understand Now that you have been leading, basically you're the head coach, you're taking all care of all the provincial regional tournaments as well, like you are keeping an eye on what's going on. So to scout a talent and stuff, like what do you see in a talent, like what do you see that this is different? I know stats are not always that important,
Yeah.
but what is your vision to pick a player? Like you were talking about Yuvraj Samra, right? What is your vision? Like, you can compare, because deep in your heart, no matter if you're a GM, no matter if you're a coach, deep in your heart, you're a player first.
Right.
So how do you see that? How do you compare that?
Like for me, stats is one of the things, and a lot of people talk about stats, but I like to see the player because stats can be misrepresented. There are players who you'd see finish a tournament at the top of the table, or you see him get the most runs, most wickets, etc. But you didn't get a chance to see how he actually played. So I like to actually go out and see how the players look. There might be another player who, say, didn't look as good. Didn't score as much, but you can see there's something special in that player. And then that player gets picked over the one who had the highest stats, people question it. But his scouting talent is different from just looking at numbers. I think numbers sometimes fool us. So I prefer any scouting is done in person.
Ingle, next question I would ask is, like, in last 4 or 5 years, like after COVID, I've seen a lot of changes in Canadian cricket. The game overall has changed. Cricket has changed. It's more fast paced. We don't play days cricket anymore, but anywhere else in the world, like, if you see like the big countries, England, Australia, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, these countries, South Africa, they have a structure. They have a days cricket structure where they play either 2 day cricket, 3 day cricket, 5 day test matches and stuff, right?
Yeah.
I know Canada is not there yet, but do you as a coach would like to see 3 days cricket being involved in Canadian cricket? Because the biggest format that we play is 50 over
50
cricket,
over, yeah.
right? So do you see that happening anytime soon? Because I remember in the past we used to play that.
Yes, it happened in the past. It's something that I like to see, especially at the younger ages, because I feel that if you're a good player at learn to develop your innings, your bowling attack, if you learn to develop as a cricketer from a younger age, then you can transition. If you look at Canada, most associate countries, I can give an example of recent Canada, going from T20 into 50 over, the transition is slow. If you go from, and vice versa. I can give another example of Nepal. They had a great outing against Scotland, and in a series before, they beat Scotland. But then they came to this series with UAE and US, and they didn't win a game. And that to me is because they came from a T20 format into 50 overs, and the transition for players is not as good. So I think playing the different formats in the year during the league would help players transform from one to another. I think even Gill, the India captain, he said he thinks Test cricket is important for him because once you develop the Test cricket and learn to play Test cricket, then you can just transition to the other forms easier. Whereas I don't believe you can go from T20. There's no such thing in my mind as a T20 cricketer. You're a cricketer. So I think you need to learn to play in all formats.
So this is Test cricket. It's good to see that you have, you're considering that. I hope I can say that.
Well, I'd like to see definitely 2-day cricket in
Yeah.
right.
The other good thing, the big thing that happened recently was Canada Super 60. And I know you were also the tournament director for that.
Yeah.
You saw the tournament from A to Z, like, from logistics, being at the stadium, man, like, seeing how the teams were doing. It was something new that I think in world cricket nobody has ever seen, like a full tournament, indoor tournament. I can tell you from my experience, when that was announced, I was thinking, like, what if the ball hits the roof of the stadium? But when I saw there, like, I was the one with alongside a few others who were betting, like, whoever will hit the roof, they will give them $1,000 or whatever, because the roof was too high. So that was very interesting format. I know the boundaries were not that big, but still, like, only one team was able to do 200 runs.
Yeah.
No other team could do it. What do you see as a coach, as the tournament director now for Canada Super 60, to see that format, that tournament grow more? I know, like, they are returning back next year.
Yeah.
So with Yuvraj Singh's involvement, how excited were you, and what do you think it will do more for Canadian cricket?
No, I think the tournament was fantastic. I mean, what you talk about there about the roof, we had long discussions on that. We even put something into the rules saying if you hit the roof, the ball was still going to be live and in play. we thought that somebody would hit the roof or the
Yeah.
screen above or even the speakers, but
Yeah.
nobody hit that. Right?
Yeah, do it.
And as you said, the boundary's been shot, especially straight. Everyone thought, okay, it's gonna be. Me myself, I thought, oh, 200 plus daily.
Yeah.
But only once it happened, as you said. And I think other factors came into play because the pitch seemed like at different times of the night it played differently. So the players weren't able to dominate. But the tournament yeah, the short boundaries were a concern at first,
Yeah.
and a lot of sixes were hit. But you know what? The fans were excited,
Yeah.
and that's what people want to. Cricket nowadays is not just about coming out. It's fan engagement. It's making sure the fans are happy, and you can see the excitement in the people in the crowd. So I think that tournament was such an exciting tournament. As it grows next year and further on, you can see it's getting better. It's going to get better. What I'd like to see is more Canadian players in the national level in the teams,
That's good.
because we had a few of them that didn't get selected this time around.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see more Canadian because it's going to help development, because you now get a chance to rub shoulders with these international players.
Yeah.
You get a chance to talk to them about how they plan for their game. So I'm not too concerned about the short boundaries, right? And there are discussions that eventually that the boundaries will get longer. They can pull the seats back if necessary. So you see them do it for other sports. So I think Super 60 was just a tremendous success this time around, and I've only heard good things about it. So it can only get better.
You talk about the fans, the fan engagement. I would say is that's just my opinion. We are keeping cricket and baseball under the same umbrella. I feel not too many people know that cricket was Canada's first national sport, right? But as long as the sport has been commercialized, cricket in this part of the world is not that popular. So for Super 60, it was a good initiative that they made shorter boundaries, because as a baseball fan, if you go watch baseball in Blue Jays Stadium, Rogers Center or something, I feel you only see a very less number of home runs.
Yeah, it's true.
For Super 60, the format they had, I feel for the fans, for the baseball audience, they can start seeing home runs from ball one. So that was a huge thing. So I feel, if we picture it that way, I would say it is a big successful tournament, and as you mentioned, we only hope that it gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with guys like Yuvraj Singh backing it, the owner Abhishek Sharma, he did a very good job, and Abhishek and his team was really good working with Kyle Koitzer. He was the assistant tournament director. I mean, it was just a great team that got this together.
One more important thing I wanted to discuss with you. I know the World Cup is in February, but it's the T20 World Cup.
Yeah.
We are also talking about the qualifiers for the ODI World Cup. That's 2027 World Cup.
Correct.
I think it's happening in South Africa, right? We have the ODI status on the line. I know the team had a rough patch very recently, but we have some crucial matches coming up next year after the World Cup. How do you think about how the team is preparing for that, if the preparations have started?
For this World Cup?
For the 2027 World Cup qualifiers, or what are your plans after the World Cup, after the T20 World Cup?
Well, for the ODI's World Cup, I expect that probably a few players probably may call it a day. So it's now to get transition into some new players coming into the squad. It's 12 games left for Canada. We're in 5th position, and we basically have to win most of those games to qualify for the ODI. The top 6 teams the top 4 go right through to the qualifiers, and then the next 4 have a chance by playing with the teams from Challenge League A and B, the winning teams on those. So I believe that Canada has a good chance. But what I'd like to see, to be honest, at the moment, preparation needs to be a little better. If you go back to when we were successful in the first games, team went to Hong Kong, then Sri Lanka, and then went to play in the tournament. We didn't do well in Hong Kong. We did well, okay, in Hong Kong. We didn't do well in Nepal. We lost most of those games, if you recall. And then we went over to Dubai and won every game. So I think preparation is important. It's not good for any team to go into any tournament by just practicing, and then going into the tournament. The other thing that happens for Canada most of the time, which is that we practice indoors in the winter and then have these tournaments during the winter period. So not enough outdoor cricket. I believe we can only get better by playing more cricket. You're not going to get better by just going in the nets and practicing among each other.
So you mentioned indoor facility training and lack of preparation, I would say, right? For T20 World Cup, are you planning something? Is the management, is the board planning something for the players?
Well, at the moment, we started our indoor training, physical training as well, fitness, and those two are going well. Started last week. I think it started off pretty good. We've got some good turnouts of most of the players have been coming every day. If anybody, maybe one player missed one day just for illness, but the enthusiasm is there because it's a T20 World Cup, so everybody wants to be a chance at that 50. And yeah, I think the practices has been going well. In terms of what we plan is like, as I said, it's not good enough to just stay indoor and be. You're not going to be ready if you just stay indoors. So we're looking to get outside at some point. If we can get outside next month, it will be even a bonus. But definitely there's a plan to leave early in January, have at least 3-4 weeks practice, training, play some games, and then you move on to the World Cup, whether it's India or Sri Lanka group. You're going to move on then starting on the 31st of January. So I believe that it's very important to get out. If we stay indoors and train, then we will not be ready to compete with the top teams in the world. Remember, it's not just an associate tournament anymore. We're now competing against the Indias, the Australias, the West Indies, etc. So we have to be ready to be playing against those international players.
Inga, before we end the conversation, I wanted to ask you was, you mentioned indoor facility training at Yashi Sports that you are training right now, right? I also wondered, are the players doing anything for their fitness? Do we have any programs for them? Can you talk about that as well?
Yeah, we have training at Yashi Sports for the cricket skills, but then we also train at Peak Health for their fitness. So they do that 3 days a week. This week, actually, on Wednesday, they're going to be having some fitness testing to get a base standard, and then they'll be given individual programs to increase their fitness. Because, as you know, Jimmy, fitness is not the same. There's some people who need to work on different areas.
Yeah.
So the trainers will figure out which area the player needs to work more on instead of giving everybody a blanket training program.
That's a good valid point. We have a big, diverse community from East Coast to West Coast.
Yeah.
From Nova Scotia to Vancouver, we have so many academies opened up now. We have so many players registered under provincial programs, leagues. There's so much cricket now. I think this is the most number of players we have seen in Canadian cricket, like in the data that we have seen in the past. What message would you tell a player who's just starting in cricket? What's his pathway to Cricket Canada, to the Team Canada? Like, what should he do? Like, how can he be different? And if they're not picked, because that's also one of the things in our community, if they're not picked, they're very complacent. It's not that easy to represent your country. So what would you like to tell those kind of individuals?
Those individuals, I get those. Up to Friday, I had a question similar to that. I went to a presentation and a youngster asked me, what's the pathway to Canadian cricket? And for me, the pathway should be and is at the moment we're working towards making sure it's constant. I mean, you'll find the odd player somewhere else, but it's for you to get into your provincial team. You go to your league, like your club for Tilashai, you have a club, then from there you play in your league matches, then get into the provincial team from there. And then once you get into a provincial team, then you have the ability to perform there in front of the selectors. And they show them your talent. And then you can get into maybe, either if you don't get directly into Canadian national team, there's Canadian high performance team. So you can get into that system and then be looked at for a national team. But and then one of the things that others have to understand, especially for the newcomers coming to Canada, you need a 3-year residency before you can be considered, unless you have a Canadian passport or you're born in Canada, or because a lot of people come and think, hey, I'm qualified, but you're not qualified until you. And the 3-year residency means you must be in Canada for 10 months of the year, out of each year, leading up to the tournament. So if you, for example, the tournament is April, it's from April the year before to the April. So you might have thought, okay, I've been in Canada 3 years now, I can go away for 2-3 months. It doesn't work that way. You have to be here leading up to the tournament, 3 consecutive years. I wanted to add something to Jimmy that I missed when we were talking about fitness. For the players, all the players are not in Ontario at the moment. So what we're doing is there are a few players in Vancouver, a couple in Manitoba and Calgary. So those players have been given programs, and we have somebody monitoring them.
Okay,
And so they'll be doing the same things that we're doing here in Ontario until everybody gets together.
that's good to know. It's good to know. Very recent Women's World Cup. India won the World Cup. I remember 2007 when T20 World Cup was won by India. The whole cricket changed. The cricket world changed, right? So now India winning the World Cup. I know women's cricket. We are playing women's cricket. Our girls have been putting a lot of hard work playing women's cricket. It's not that easy to balance out your time and work, everything. For women's cricket, like I know like Manali Patel, who's been experienced cricketer herself. She's doing a wonderful job as a broadcaster.
Yeah.
She's also leading the Creos ICC program. So for women's cricket, what do you think will be leading up to like after the World Cup? Do you see more eyeballs from the board side of things, from management on women's cricket? If yes, how?
I think it already started because you realize the women just came from an African tour.
Yeah.
And although they didn't do well in Uganda, you can see they were getting better each time. And when they got to Tanzania, they actually played better
Yes.
and had some good showings. And to me, again, that's because of you coming out of winter indoor training into a tour like that. So I think the more cricket they played, they've understood. I've spoken to some of them since they're back, and I think it was a good learning thing for them, the women's team and the women's players and coaching staff. And so you can see that if they get to play more cricket, then it'll be good. Something that's happening next year for Canada for the first time is that Canada's under-19 girls will be playing in a World Cup qualifier.
Oh, that's good.
In
That's good to
August. So there's a lot that's happening for women cricket, and a lot of emphasis is going to make sure. US have been going directly to the under-19 World Cups without any challenges. But this year, there are 4 teams: Argentina, Canada, Brazil, and USA going to play in the qualifier. And if our girls get enough training, enough practice, I think you've seen the talent, I'm sure, and I think they can compete well.
That's good to know. So, Ingle, as I said in the beginning, one of the most iconic individuals in Canadian cricket.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure talking to you. Great to see your insights on Canadian cricket,
Yeah.
about youth cricket, women's cricket, and good luck for the preparations for the T20 World Cup.
Thanks, Jimmy. It's
Thanks,
been a
Ingle.
pleasure.
Thanks.